Go ahead, Mr. Little.
All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. I'm going to ask Tracy if you would lead us in prayer.
Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you again for being able to come and meet for council. Lord, we're thankful for the citizens of Cherokee County. And we pray now for all those that have been affected by the coronavirus, those that have been sickened by it, those who have lost loved ones due to this virus. We pray that your hand would be upon them. And we pray that this would quickly leave us and we can get back to our normal daily lives. Lord, we are so thankful for those that work in the healthcare industry, whether they be with the EMS service, the hospitals, fire departments, first responders, or wherever they are and wherever they work. We pray that you have your hand upon them. Lord, go with us through this meeting. May everything that we do be pleasing unto you. In Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Tracy. Now I ask for the roll call.
Mike Folks.
Here.
Tracy McDaniel.
Here.
Tim Spencer.
Here.
Lyman Dawkins.
Here.
Wade Little.
Here.
David Smith.
Here.
Charles Mathis.
Here. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So
Mike,
moved.
so moved. Second. Make sure you say your last name or first name at the beginning.
We have a motion from folks. Who made the second?
Dawkins made the second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? I ask for the roll call.
Mike Folks.
Yay.
Tracy McDaniel.
Yay.
Tim Spencer.
Yay.
Wade Little.
Yay.
Lyman Dawkins.
Yay.
David Smith.
Yay.
Charles Mathis.
Yay. All right. We have approval of the minutes from regular meeting 4/6/2020.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
I didn't get the motion.
Second, Dawkins.
Can I ask for the roll call?
Mike Folks.
Yay.
Tracy McDaniel.
Yay.
Tim Spencer.
Yay.
Wade Little.
Yay.
Lyman Dawkins.
Yay.
David Smith.
Yay.
Charles Mathis.
Yay. All right, next we have the approval of the claims in the amount of $423,778.66. Do I hear a motion? So moved. Folks, second. We have a motion and a second. I ask for the roll call.
Mike Folks.
Yay.
Tracy McDaniel.
Yay.
Tim Spencer.
Yay.
Wade Little.
Yay.
Lyman Dawkins.
Yay.
David Smith.
Yay.
Charles Mathis.
Yay. All right, next we have a resolution for National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. Do I hear a motion? Folks,
So moved,
make a motion. A motion and a second. I'm going to ask for the roll call.
Mike Folks.
Yay.
Tracy McDaniel.
Yay.
Tim Spencer.
Yay.
Wade Little.
Yay.
Lyman Dawkins.
Yay.
David Smith.
Yay.
Charles Mathis.
Yay. All right. Next, we will be hearing from DP3, the architects in charge of the Public Works design. I guess I'll turn this over to you, Mr. Bratton, to introduce. Or
Yes, sir. We've got with us Mike Fry and Kunal Patel. Can you hear us, gentlemen?
yeah.
Mike, can you all hear us? They're connecting now with their audio.
Yeah, all they got is visual.
Shows they're connecting. Just one moment. Tell you what, while they work that out, guys, I'm gonna, Mike, can y'all hear us? If you'll just shake your head. Yes.
I can hear you good, Steve.
Okay. While they work that out, we're gonna go into executive session. And so let me let Mr. Phillips know that we're gonna do that. And we'll have him work with DP3 to go ahead and, if y'all are okay with that, we'll go into executive session while DP3 gets their audio worked out. Is that okay with you, Mr. Little?
I guess we'll defer to Mr. Mathis.
Yeah, that's fine. As long as I can be in the executive session.
Yes, sir, you will. Wait a minute, we might be in here now. Mike, can y'all hear us at DP3?
Yeah, we're here. We finally got dialed in right.
Okay, good. Never mind. You want to go forward with this, Mr. Little?
We can.
All right. Gentlemen, what we're doing tonight, and I've asked Mike Pry and Kunal Patel to be here, and what I've asked them to do is go over the preliminary drawings that you all received at the last packet that you all received on April the 6th. And for those, what we're looking for tonight is any questions that the council has. And if we can get those questions answered tonight, then we would love to be able to green light DP3 to move forward with the detailed drawings in order to start getting this project ready to be put out to bid. We're still a ways away from that, but what we're looking for tonight is an approval, if council chooses to, for what has been given to you all as preliminary layout and space allocation. With that, Mike and Kunal, I'll turn this over to you guys.
Okay, thank you all. We'll get our screen shared here. Where that went to, share screen. There we go. Does everybody see the starting page with the 3 site aerials on it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, well, what we wanted to do was remind you all the 3 facilities that we were looking at. That's the animal shelter, relocating that campus, which will also include the addition of the Humane Society, the existing recycling center campus, and then lastly, the existing operations and maintenance and fleet maintenance, roads and bridges and streets divisions, get those relocated. We've had an opportunity since we last met with you all to review the floor plans with each of the end users on a couple of different occasions so that we can make sure that we've have a good functional layout that's going to meet their needs, not just for today, but looking in to the 10, 15, 20 years out into the future. We're now really at the point where we're starting to look at the 3rd dimension, and that's what we're presenting to you all tonight, just to make sure that we're meeting the original goals of portraying a positive image for the county to the citizens and the community. We want to, again, as we move forward with engineers with this, the systems that we're showing you tonight and that we're selecting have a lifespan of at least 50 years, that they're sustainable, energy efficient, and are going to be able to withstand the abuse that these facilities often take over the life of their use. So I'm going to turn it over to Kunal now to talk about the different options, different buildings that we have there. This was the original site, the 3 different layouts. We are still staying with this scheme based on the direction we were given previously, with the animal shelter located to the south of Lemuel Road, recycling center at the top, and then a 3rd site, which is the operations and maintenance facility.
Yeah, so I might stand, I might sit kind of through this, kind of awkward presenting from sitting in the chair to a degree. So I might just kind of do a little bit of both, so don't mind me. But yeah, like Mike mentioned, we last presented this master plan to you guys last October. And since then, things have pretty much stayed where they are. Just like Mike said, we're locating the buildings where we're locating them. We're finding good spots on the site to put them on flat portions of the site and avoid that creek that's running through the middle. Slight things have gotten adjusted as we've kind of learned the site a little bit more doing our research. And as the building designs have kind of developed. So back then we were looking at a very high level view in how we were going to master plan the facility. What we've done to this point is look at each individual facility, make sure that they're working the way that they need to work, and start to look at the plans, at the elevations, and start to look at the third dimension of the design.
And we have, Steve has authorized the surveyor, KCI Surveying, to, under our contract to begin the site surveys. And so we're waiting on that data, which we should have shortly, so that our civil engineering team can begin the site design and see where we are from a site layout standpoint.
So we'll kind of go through each facility. We'll look at each one of them, just kind of talk through them a little bit. I'll show you the site plan, the floor plan, and then perspective views. You guys have already kind of seen this in the packet that you have right now. So we'll just kind of go through it quickly and then open it up for any questions you guys may have. So again, the animal shelter remains similar to what we had it laid out on the site. Parking in the front, at the very front, parking in front of the building. At the very front entrance of the building is where there's a covered entry, where a car can park underneath and they can get into the building under a covered area. And then the sally port towards the right-hand portion or left-hand portion of the building, where a police officer can come in a secure area to be able to bring in any stray animals and bring in animals that need to be sent in and put into a kennel. And then the two legs of the building essentially is where the dog runs are, the outdoor indoor kennel combination is occurring, and then an outdoor courtyard that kind of is framed by those legs of the building. You can kind of see towards the front end portion, we have a secure fence line that basically protects the public and the private, so you're avoiding that conflict of interest of anyone coming in that shouldn't be. So kind of looking at the floor plan itself, this plan is just turned 90 degrees from the site plan. There's three main portions, programmatic elements to this: the animal shelter, the animal control, and the humane society. And the humane society is one that's really that's kind of new to the whole facility and to the how this may work. So we wanted to create a space that tied them all together, so that lobby / adoption center kind of works hand in hand with one another. So in the lobby, you have the ability to see Kelly, who's the animal shelter manager. Or you can go over to the
Kunal, can you use your mouse to kind of point out what you're talking about as you go?
Sure.
Yeah, I've got the map in front of me here.
There you go.
Yeah, all right. All right, so as you enter into the lobby, you have the ability to see Kelly. Her office is the first person that you have the ability to interact with. But if you need to go talk to anyone in animal control, they're over here on the right-hand side. And then on the left-hand side, when you enter, is the adoption center. We have the ability of closing that off from one another with glass sliding doors. It can be opened up when everything is open, but if it's not open, you have the ability of closing it away. And then locating adoptable dogs, cats that can be up for adoption. And then a dog and cat enrichment room, which could be also a bonding room where a potential family that's going to be adopting this animal can go in and interact with that pet before they take them home. Again, we talked about the sally port up here, located closely to animal control, to euthanasia, and to the crates and the cleaning storage areas. Central file, restrooms, break rooms, and all kinds of core building functions are set back here. On this back hallway, you see the cats and the isolated dogs that are set into this back hallway with this glass wall that starts to allow some natural light to come in from the outdoor courtyard into this hallway and kind of make sure that different portions of this building are illuminated with natural light as well. And then the two legs of the buildings that essentially serve where all the dogs will be housed, both the indoor kennels and the outdoor kennels that are created. At the very front of the building that also can serve this area, and in that area you have diet prep rooms, a staff restroom with a shower where the staff can, if they get dirty, they can go in, they can get cleaned up and whatnot. And at the very end, the janitor's closet and the storage area, essentially small nooks that can be where extra materials and things can be housed. So again, that's just the kind of basic overall plan. With this, and in each of the facilities, an animal shelter, recycling center, an operations maintenance facility, well, they're all really different types of facilities. But what we tried to do was come up with an architecture where it could be read as one, it could be read as a campus, it could be read as something similar and simple, because, we wanted to play and respect the budget that we had created at the very beginning. So we looked at economical structural systems where we would utilize a pre-engineered metal building as a shell, as a structural component that could be easily manipulated on every single one of these facilities. So in this building, we wanted to take advantage of the office portion and use a simple single slope shed frame that opens the high side up to the entrance. It allows you to kind of create that threshold and that condition where if we expose the structure, you have the ability to kind of have that open and exposed and create a porch-like condition like you kind of see right here. The covered drop-off area, like I mentioned before, where a car can fit underneath. But then again, all of this is just sloping up towards the front road, which then we can manipulate on every single one of these buildings and utilize that. And then the rainwater slopes back down very simply to the back. So again, trying to utilize a simple structural system that could be an architectural element for every single one of these buildings. So that's an idea of what you can kind of see over here at the front. We also wanted to look at the idea of, we created a simple material palette in neutral tones, light grays, dark grays, but then a pop of color. Blue is actually one of the colors that animals, cats and dogs especially, can react to. They can see a little bit better than other colors on their eye spectrum. And so we decided to make these two colors there. Green for the recycling center, yellow for the operations and maintenance facility. We'll talk about that as we move forward to those. But on the back end, you can kind of see the legs of the buildings, like I keep saying, where we decided, let's utilize simple concrete masonry to be load bearing. We don't necessarily need a pre-engineered metal building structure here because of the sizes and whatnot. We need this to be a heavy, durable area, an area that can get washed down easily. So let's try to utilize that for these back runs. And then again, that courtyard that starts to get framed in between the two. And then another just view of the outdoor kennels that you see back here with a small covered canopy to where those animals can be outside but still covered from the elements and from rain and whatnot. So, playing the best of both worlds and trying to give them both indoor and outdoor capability and really making this animal shelter, a nice place to be while they are there. So moving on to the recycling center, again, here circulation was a big factor. Kind of goes back to when we designed this during the master plan phase. But looking at one-way circulation throughout so we could avoid heavy trucks and personal vehicles and the public, because you have a really big public presence come into this facility, maybe more so than any of the others, and maybe the most visitors as you typically have it. So as you enter the building, enter the facility on the right-hand portion right here, you have a simple one-way drive-through to the employee entrance or employee parking lot. Those who are coming to drop off recycled goods, they enter right there. That's your general public circulation. If you're a truck that's coming to offload goods, you come into here and come into the tipping and sorting floor and offload and go about your day there. And then the loading dock back here where you have the ability to come in, do maybe a hammerhead in area back there and then go back to the loading dock. Again, secure fence line up here to prevent this from being accessed after hours. If it is being accessed after hours, we have the little drop-off area right here where they can pull in, they can drop off into the container that will be located back here, and then enter through the employee parking lot and leave again. So recycling center floor plan, simple enough to where a convenience center where your general public is coming through there, office areas, break room, training room out here in the center, and then your large tipping, sorting, storage, and loading areas back here. The basic concept of this was the employees that have their core central spaces in the middle can have the ability to access the convenience center or the sorting areas as needed. Also have the ability to perhaps have school groups and tours that may come to this facility to take a look at it. Perhaps the break room also is a training room and houses these types of activities and these types of events.
The only conditioned area of this building is that one central core. The rest of the building is completely open air, naturally ventilated. So very economical, but will protect the workers Whereas right now they're working out in the middle of the sun most of the day. Now they'll be protected but ventilated.
And so one of the things we kind of played with and studied was how does the truck come in with goods? How do those goods get tipped, offloaded, and then sorted? So we try to create, again, with circulation, a very systematic procedure where the truck can come in, drive through, they can back in as they need to, offload from here into the sorting area, and then all of this gets sorted into the bins that it needs to go into. From there, if it needs to go out to a tractor trailer and get crushed or baled, they have the ability to move from this bin into the loading dock and into the truck. So again, material is coming in here and then making its way to the end of the facility and into the shed. And like Mike mentioned, you're getting all of your storage area, you're getting all your workers underneath the covered shed to have the ability to work no matter what the conditions may be. So again, from a perspective view, I mentioned the use of green for the recycling center, trying to utilize that as a colorful component, utilizing the structural systems of the pre-engineered metal building shell. Both of these sheds are very simple, single slope, maintaining a 1 in 12 slope for each of these facilities. With a small typical frame connector in between to connect the two. But again, the recycling center is sloping up. The face of it is facing Lemuel Road. The animal shelter is right across the street, and that's sloping up. So those two are, addressing one another, facing one another, and the architecture is starting to read as one language as you're driving down Lemuel Road. So moving on to the operations and maintenance facility, again, very straightforward in the way that we laid out the site plan. The building is oriented the way that it needs to be, has offices, training rooms, and those functions out front. The vehicle maintenance is out to the back. Moving on from there, parking lots and staff and visitor parking out front as well, with your secure fence line back here that prevents anyone from getting into the fleet maintenance and the fleet parking. Fuel island over here, covered storage and lay yard area back here in this back portion of the site. Moving into the plan, this building is probably the least publicly visited. So a small vestibule to be able to contain anyone that comes to this facility that may not necessarily need to be there. But Debbie, the admin assistant, can help them get to where they need to go. She's serving as the gatekeeper that basically sees anyone that comes into this building, or anyone that's coming into the site, having windows out to the parking area here, having windows out to the parking area here. Kind of helps her do her job. But then again, offices for roads and bridges and solid waste along this back area, courts, workrooms, conference rooms, and storage spaces in the middle, and then a large training room that could be housed for many different types of events that you want to have, whether it's a training for the folks that work here or a training for someone else that may be as a part of the county. This training room can house those types of events. Locker rooms back here, and then moving into the vehicle maintenance fleet building, essentially. Roads and bridges have some rooms within this space as well. The sign shop is a room that they could utilize. Ground storage is a room that they could utilize, but they could utilize those without ever coming into this portion of the building. They can access those areas from the outside. Part storage, waiting room, central lube, all these different functions that start to play a role with how the vehicles are maintained. And then 2 heavy duty drive-through bays, which allow you to service those larger vehicles. But then also a single light duty drive-through bay, which could double as a heavy duty heavy duty bay should you need it to be. And then on the outside of it, open air, but still part of the same roof line, is the vehicle wash bay with a platform that allows you to kind of get up a little bit higher on those vehicles. Mezzanine, code will dictate how much mezzanine square footage we can have. This one might not be able to be there, but this one we will try to utilize above and high. You'll see in the next image that this space up here is on the high side of that roof. So we have that availability of volume above these spaces. So that's somewhere we can utilize. Again, looking to play up where the people, the vehicles, whoever it may be, whatever it may be, enters, allow that to be the high side. Having windows up here on this back portion of the building, and allowing that to also be where maybe some of the larger vehicles can be maintained, where they may need to get their cab lifted or tilted or whatever the case may be to maintain that back there, and also allow windows and natural light to come in. And then the same concept over here, having all the idea and the use of the yellow to kind of exemplify this is that building, and different from the others, but again, part of the same campus.
So I think, again, the idea of the architecture of these three buildings is simple forms, a consistent steel frame used throughout all three structures, utilizing conventional connector structures where it makes sense, where we can put rooftop units up on the roof to keep them from being vandalized and damaged on the ground. We can keep them up on those structures. And then just having a unified campus. The road will really create a campus for the entire facility.
So just some more perspectives of how the facility starts to play out, the back end portion of the vehicle wash area, with seeing some of these windows and whatnot to allow some natural light to come into those working spaces. And so really next step is to, answer your questions and address your concerns as we move forward. And really, hopefully we can do that today and move forward and really allow us to move full speed ahead as we go through this design process. Continue to evaluate the design with the budget that we have. And begin, we've kind of already started some of this coordination with our engineers, but continue that further, all the different consultants that'll be on this project. Continue to meet with Steve and his staff with the different departments to make sure that, we'll get down to the detail of every, is the outlet and the furniture and the desks laid out the way that they need to be laid out? Can you plug in your TV to the monitor that may be going on the screen? All kinds of details like that we'll move forward with. And the next goal and the end goal is essentially work to meet towards our design development and our construction document deadline. So with that, we'll kind of turn it over to any questions, concerns that you may have.
Do we have any questions?
Yes, whenever y'all started the presentation off, it showed two buildings on one side and one building on the other side. I thought we was all in agreement to build all three of them on the right-hand side.
Mr. Spencer, actually, that was the most expensive option was that option. And the option that the council chose was the one where the animal shelter and the recycling center are directly across the road from one another. And the recycling center and the operation and maintenance facility are actually on the opposite side of the road from the landfill.
So you're going to be putting the animal shelter on the left-hand side of the road?
If you're going toward Concord Road, yes, sir.
Do you think that's a good idea because of those houses back in behind there?
A significant amount of woods back there and trees back there, Mr. Spencer. Plus, I believe with this being a masonry block part, that the portion of the building that where the dog kennels are will be masonry. We don't anticipate that to be a major problem. There's just a couple of houses over there, and it's going to be very close to Lemuel Road. I had more concern about putting it on the other side of the road because behind the recycling center and all is Norman Boulevard, and there's a large mobile home park back there.
Well, the only thing, Mr. Bratton, I've had several calls about the police shooting over there at that range. I just don't want it to turn into where people are complaining about dog smell and dogs barking. If you think there's enough burn over there, I guess that's good.
Yeah, I would agree with Steve's comments about that. There's, I think, plenty of space back there. And then also, just going back to that first comment, you see this, if you can see my screen, this blue arrow that kind of divides really the developable area that we have there. Putting all of these on that portion of the site really squeezed us to get it to all work. So this would become a more economical and advantageous option as well.
And Mr. Spencer, I believe that the shooting range, the sheriff's shooting range there is it's pretty loud versus dogs. And we certainly hope those animals are going to be inside the facility the majority of the time. But am I right in saying that portion of the facility will also be masonry, correct, Mike?
That is correct. It's solid masonry. We do have outdoor runs as well. But again, it's pretty contained on the site. And we can certainly look at berming if that's a desire around the site, but I I just don't think it's gonna be that necessary as what it is out there.
Steve, what I'm looking at right now, it looks like it's close to the range. Is it right there above the range or is it below the range?
The range is, if you can see my cursor, the range is down here.
Okay.
Across the lake.
The range is down toward, actually off the screen, Mr. Spencer. It's on the other side of that pond where you see the bottom of that blue arrow. That's the
Right.
little pond that's back there, not the one up at there's a second pond, not the one up at the active site. But there's a
Right.
little small pond, and the range is actually down below it and on the left-hand side.
Okay. As long as we got
Yeah,
to
the
leave
noise
as many
won't be any
trees
worse
as
than
we can. As long as we leave as many trees as we can, I think we might be all right.
Yes, sir. We certainly, I'm not going to remove any trees that we don't have to. On the other side of the road, just speaking of trees, what we will do is we will clear cut the areas where we have to actually develop the footprint of the buildings and the paved areas. And then what we will do at some point is go in and thin that timber around that area. There's a better picture of it. We will actually thin the area on the right-hand side of the road as needed. But down below to the right, as we're looking at it of the animal shelter, we will leave those trees for a buffer, has been my plan.
Okay. Another question is all three of these buildings for future expansion if we needed to build to them?
We have master plan, first program into each of the facilities, some extra rooms that may be not necessarily needed right now, but may become a need in the future. And then on the site as well, which also kind of led to the idea of using this option over the other one, the buildings themselves, like for example, the animal shelter, you could very easily extend beyond this hallway, beyond that hallway, another set of runs on this back end right here, if you really wanted to. But the reason that we also kind of size these runs the way that they are is that if they ever needed to become doubled up, should the immediate need basically come up, you could house a set of animals here and a set of animals in this back portion as well. So for each one of these facilities, we tried to look at where we could potentially grow, expand. This could very well extend back here and into this back portion of the site because there is some more of plateau and flat land on this area as well. So we did look at that when we were master planning.
Okay. That's all I have, Steve. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else?
On the animal shelter floor plan, is that courtyard, is it enclosed?
This courtyard is not enclosed.
Go to the next view down. That view.
Would there not need to be some type of gate or fencing back here to enclose this just in case the dog or something try to take off?
Well, so if you look at this line right there, those are all gates that would keep the dogs within their animal run.
We've got a secondary.
And then looking back here, you can kind of see that fence line right here. That basically protects you from even getting from the front portion to that back area at all. So the gate line would be essentially right there, and then another fence line right here.
The whole back part of Mr. Dawkins will be fenced around the back part of that property. And
Okay.
and the part that you see in blue on this particular drawing that they have up is the outside portions of the kennel runs, but there is an exterior fence that goes along basically to prevent the dog from going outside of their kennel.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
That would be that
there.
fence that.
Yeah, there'd be another fence line over here at the trees,
Yeah.
essentially the tree line.
So it's something against the tree line to keep them from even going to the woods if they was to get out?
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, that fence line would continue on within that.
Basically, the whole backyard of that facility would be fenced, Mr. Dawkins.
Right, because there's a couple other pens for farm animals and exercise as well that are little freestanding shelters.
And may I just say, guys, that just so council knows, just in numbers, the animal shelter, the way as in its current design, will house 60 dogs, interior on the interior, And with the exterior, and we're allowed to do this, we try not to, we can actually go and we can actually keep a dog on the exterior portion if we had to, because that is a covered area. They would be covered out of the weather. So in emergencies, we could expand that out for another 60 runs. But of course, if we started needing all that, then at that point we've grown a lot and we would be looking at the possibility of expanding. But
Mr. Bratton, what's the current shelter? What can it hold?
Mr. Smith, I'm sorry, did you ask me that right now? I want to say the max is 50, to 53, I believe it is actually. And this is designed with 60, plus 60 more exterior runs. Plus you've got the isolation, dogs in isolation, or any sick animals would be in isolation. How many dogs would that hold?
10 adoptable.
Yeah, and then you've got the adoption wing down there, which is something new in our partnership with the Humane Society. That's something I'm excited about this facility, is where people would be able to actually come to our facility at times when the Humane Society are open for business and actually adopt animals out of our facility through the Humane Society. So there's 10 more over there. Kanal, how many dogs will go in that isolation area? How many can?
3.
3, okay. There's a lot of room here. I don't know of a time since I've been here when we would have filled this up. And so it's designed to allow us some growth. It's not too big, but as we all think, growth is coming as the interstate is completed and so forth. But I believe this meets our needs for the current and hopefully for the next 10 to 15 years, certainly beyond those times, hopefully.
Do you have anyone else? I got one question. Can you pull up the recycling center front? All right. The main entrance going into this building is through where the cars come in, unload. What I was seeing.
The main entrance for like an employee.
Well, I thought in the first floor plan you had a room, right here, training room, braking and training room. See that entrance? Yeah. Is this considered your main entrance coming in? Or
really, this is the main entrance coming into the building. This is more of a secondary getting out to the parking area. Really would only be used for the employee and staff that are part of the facility. If you're part of the public, you really never get out of your car. The idea is you drive into the convenience center, you get your goods taken out of your car, then you drive off.
Okay. Well, is that exterior wall to the left of the cars in the picture, is it visible through there? So people walking up could see cars in there before they started to cross the path in front of them?
Oh, yeah, they'll be coming from the right-hand side.
I see.
Just go to your next view.
See, I'm just concerned if somebody gets out of this parking lot and walks through there and they couldn't see a car and they go around the left side of the building and a car comes out, with the potential be a problem there getting hit.
You'll see all the cars coming from this. This is the view, and where that person's coming out a door, that is the main entrance of the building. So the cars are only coming from this direction.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Though, let's say a car is parked in there, a guy gets out over here, he walks around to the left side of the building, and a car starts out right there. Is the side open so they could see the cars in there? Is that?
I think. Honestly, that is a valid concern, and that's something that we could start to address. Perhaps there's some kind of mirror or something that you can see from over here.
What can you just having that wall you're dragging down right now? Can you see through that? You can.
It's got to be solid up to about 5 feet because there's bins that they put all the materials in. So.
But after that, we could start to look at some kind of glazing or something else.
I just think you need some type of visibility. If you got out of your car and went to the left and you walked in front of that traffic and you didn't know that car was coming out, I think that would be a potential problem.
Right. This upper right picture here that you see is the current convenience center. So those bins line the wall. So we could look at some openness above those bins to achieve what you're talking about versus a solid wall. So
yes, or windows or something so people could see. That would.
Yeah.
That.
And
But
that,
you'd have natural light too.
yeah, and that's not a conditioned space. That's not a conditioned space, so you could certainly make it. Maybe could you make it open over that canal, or?
Yeah, we could just, as long as we have a low block wall for those bins to sit in, then it can be open above that or translucent, see-through windows or whatever. So
that would be okay with that. Yeah.
And we would certainly want to put some signage to be aware of and so forth also there, Mr.
Yeah. Well, and like Mike Fry mentioned, I mean, I think there's things we can also do to the ground plane to kind of deviate and kind of show that, designate what's meant to be what. But we'll look at that, and then also the idea of adding more openings and giving visibility and clearance between the two. So that could be a very valid concern.
Okay.
Does anyone have any more questions for him?
Mr. Little.
Steve,
Yes, sir.
if we bid this thing out and it goes over budget of what we think we want to pay, can we go back and get some of it down? Or I don't want to get too far along and get committed to spending whatever the bid comes in.
Yes, sir. We're a long way from that, Mr. Mathis. And what I believe the plan is, and Mike, you and can all chime in here, is they're going to design these facilities. If you all are good with this space allocation, they're going to design these and get them ready to go out to bid. And once we give them the green light to put it out to bid, we'll see where it comes back. And if it comes back over budget, then we will have to start value engineering the drawings and making changes accordingly to try to get it within the council's chosen budget. Is that way you understand this could go, Mr. Pry?
Yeah, actually, if we get the go ahead tonight, what we'll do is take this information. We'll have narratives from our engineering consultants, and we'll go ahead and get a price, rough cost estimate, just to make sure that what we're designing is still roughly within budget. And then we'll get through the drawings, and we'll have one more check as we get closer to the end, just so there's no surprise on bid day that we're way off the mark on these things.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're trying to be conscious as we design, knowing what the budget is, knowing what the end result is. We don't make a decision now that's going to haunt us later. So
we don't want to waste time and money going later, changing it all at the end of the day. So we'll validate that along the way as we go.
Okay. Do we have any further questions for them?
Mr. Little, will you address, you and I had looked at these last week, or maybe a couple weeks ago. Will you address the question you had regarding tires and where we unload those?
Be honest with you, I can't
remember. Okay, this is the few I want. Mike and one question.
I can't see it because of I'm seeing all y'all where that tire thing was. That's why I can't address it. I can't.
You can drag that down to the bottom, Mr. Little, if you'd like.
Drag your screen.
Let me grab it. All right. See if I can move it. All right. Okay. Now we're doing good.
What the question is when our citizens bring tires in, they may bring in a truckload of 30 tires. And what we generally do right now is we load those directly onto the back of an 18-wheeler. And so what would be the plan on this to where they're going to be able to bring those, and our guys I want them to work smarter, not harder. I want to be able to make sure that they're not taking extra steps with moving a bunch of tires that they don't have to take. So what would be y'all's plan on that?
The guys, if they have a truck come in like that, they will bring them all the way, be directed to bring them all the way back to this back loading dock and load them straight onto the dock. and then they can take them straight into another transfer truck on the backside there. We have more than enough spaces in that plan, wrong direction here, for all these semis lined up. These little dash boxes you see on the backside here are all semis. So the intent is they would come back here, load right here, then take it off one truck and put it right into the tire truck right next to it off that loading dock, to minimize the number of steps they have.
Yeah, because I think you've got space for 6 trucks there, right? And I think currently we use what, 4?
It was 4 basic and then 1 additional if needed.
And then we added one more for that tire truck.
Right, added 1 tire truck location. And because of the slope of the site, we're actually taking advantage of the site dropping away here to create that loading dock. So we're not having to do a depressed dock. It's just naturally falling away 4 feet away. So even the curbside cart storage, some can roll in right at grade through this side door, or if they want to load them straight into a truck, they can roll straight out the back, straight into a truck. So not have to do a lot of lifting, depending on how they're receiving or taking out the carts.
And gentlemen, just so y'all know, the folks from DP3 mentioned it earlier, the department heads have all seen these. They've gone through it fairly thoroughly. And this one here, Galen had a lot of concerns, and they tweaked this one quite a bit, and he's very pleased with the way this lays out. And I know all of you who have been out to the recycling center knows the current situation out there, but Galen's very pleased with the way this is, and it seems to really work. There's plenty of room for us to drive our forklift and other things through here, and then we'll bail everything right there on the loading dock. So that seems to work very well. I just want you to know that those department heads have all looked at these and put their preliminary stamp of approval on this also.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? It's the pleasure of council. Do y'all want to take this as information, or do y'all want to proceed with allowing DP3 to do the drawings?
This is folks. I make a motion that we proceed forward with the plan. Smith gives a second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to allow DP3 to continue on with drawing of the plans. I will ask for the roll call.
Mike Folks,
Yay.
Jason McDaniel,
Yay.
Tim Spencer,
Yay.
Clay Little,
Yay.
Lyman Dawkins,
Yay.
David Smith,
Yay.
Charles Mathis.
Yay.
All right. Motion passes. Thank you, DP3, for all what you do. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we thank you all for your time this evening, and we look forward to moving to the next step.
Yes, sir. All right. I'm going to turn to either
Okay,
Joe.
take care.
Yes, sir. I'm going to turn it over either to Joe or Steve in regards to this executive session.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
Mr. Chairman, a motion would be in order to go into executive session regarding a personnel matter arising from the treasurer's office.
Do I hear a motion?
So move, Smith.
I have a motion and a second. I'm going to ask for the roll call.
Mike Folks,
Yay.
Jason McDaniel,
Yay.
Tim Spencer,
Yay.
Clay Little,
Yay.
Lyman Dawkins,
Yay.
David Smith,
Yay.
Charles Mathis.
Yay. All right. We will go into executive session.
Y'all stay right here, and Mr. Phillips.
All right. I'm going to ask Mr. Joe Mathis to bring us back out of executive session.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Motion would be in order to return to regular session from executive session. Madam Clerk, reflect no action was taken in executive session.
Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion. Come out of executive session.
Do I hear a
So
second?
move.
All right, we have a motion and a second to come out of executive session. I'm going to ask for the roll call.
Mike Folks,
Yay.
Tracy McDaniel,
Yay.
Tim Spencer,
Nay.
Yay or nay, Mr. Spencer?
Yay. Yay.
Quay Little,
Yay.
Lyman Dawkins,
Yay.
David Smith,
Yay.
Charles Mathis.
Yay.
Now we're going to hear from our Public Works Chairman, Tracy McDaniel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Works Committee met this afternoon, Monday, 20th, 2020 at 4:30. We had one item on the agenda to review, which was the to award a bid number 2020-18 recycling containers, which will be bid by responsive bidders. The low bid was New Life Environmental for a total of $26,784. So motion from the Public Works Committee to award this to New Life Environmental for $26,784.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Folks, second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, I'm going to ask for the roll call.
Mike Folks,
Yay.
Tracy McDaniel,
Yay.
Tim Spencer,
Yay.
Lyman Dawkins,
Yay.
David Smith,
Yay.
Charles Mathis.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, that's all we have from Public Works.
Thank you, Tracy. All right, I'm going to ask Mr. Mathis, does he have any report?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
All right, next we will be hearing from the Developmental Board, Ken Cook and Ken Moon. Are they coming in, Steve?
Yeah, they are.
There they are.
Guys, can y'all hear us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're going to let y'all talk. And what I've asked Mr. Cook and Mr. Moon to do is to present to council tonight just some information about the industry in the county and how they have fared during the quarantine. And so with that, I'll turn it over to Jim and Ken.
Thank you. We're going to go ahead and do a share screen if we can, please.
Sir, go ahead.
All right, we appreciate this opportunity to talk to you. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
When this all first started, of course, we were like everyone else trying to figure out what we're going to do. We got in touch with most all the industries in town, had real good responses back. Between that and coordinating with Department of Commerce, Department of DHEC, SCDU, the WIB, we had good information flowing back and forth, trying to figure out what the needs of industries were, what they were concerned about. Some of the biggest things that came up, first of all, were the essential industries. They all wanted to be considered essential, didn't want to be shut down. And we got that information to the governor's office through the Department of Commerce. There were also concerns with North Carolina employees. We have a lot of employees that come over the state line. And if you'll recall, especially at the beginning, North Carolina was taking more drastic measures for quarantine. And so there were some real concerns, and we worked through that. We had conference calls with Senator Graham's office, Senator Scott's office, and we also we still meet once a week on Zoom with all the Upstate Alliance economic developers in the Upstate to share all the concerns and best practices. One of the other things that came out of that, one of the initial questions were companies were wanting to know if they did get the virus, what to do. And between all of our allies in the Upstate, we got the information to them so they could know what to do. If and to my knowledge, right now we haven't had a reported case in any of our industries. Knock on wood. We the service and retail sectors are the ones really been getting hard right now. The industries are doing fairly well. Some companies have hired additional people. Some have struggled in the beginning. The textile industry struggled just a little bit. You've seen some of the articles in the paper after they retooled, found new markets with all the PPE. And so our textile companies are doing extremely well. Dollar Tree is a good example. They've hired more and are actually looking for more as we speak. They're doing that. The food or agribusiness, Nestle, Brown Packing, Ace Bakery, all going wide open as you can imagine. We have had a couple of industries. One of our major employers laid off for a couple of weeks, but as I understand today, they are hiring back. We'll talk about that one.
Part of the Family Act that was passed by Congress, they had small business loans that were forgivable. We had a few of our industry that had laid off people, but part of the stipulation to be able to keep the loan and not have to pay it back after 1 year, they cannot lay anyone off, nor can they cut wages. So a lot of them have hired back those people that they had laid off and are also looking to get this loan. We're waiting for the second round to be approved by Congress right now.
So overall activity is good. We are staying in close touch with our businesses and industries throughout the county. As far as Ken and I can tell, I mean, we're not official spokespersons for these industries, but they seem to be faring well at this time. I'll be glad to answer any questions. We appreciate y'all letting us give this little update.
Guys, can y'all talk about activity? I see you got a little.
Oh, yes. Thank you for that. Activity surprisingly, well, as you can imagine, it's down, but we're still getting some. Matter of fact, the spec building has probably gotten the most looks on this throughout this quarantine than any of the other sites right now. Old Castle that we announced in February, they're continuing to go forward. Of course, their products are being sold at Lowe's and Home Depot and Walmart, and so they're going gangbusters. So they're continuing in their construction of that $13 million project that we announced back in February. We were scared that was going hold, but it is not. But overall, we're able to stay in touch with our site consultants and developers and project managers at the Department of Commerce. So even though our focus has obviously been on our existing industries and trying to make sure they're able to keep the doors open and keep working, we are still, activity level is still there. It's down, but there's still people looking to see what they might be able to do when they come out of this crisis.
And one of the things I want to add is that I believe I can say, and I'm safe to say, Jim and Ken, that our three industries that are our large food industries, they've been unfazed, I believe, for the most part. Is that correct?
I heard that. Did you say our top three?
With our three that are our major food
Our major food, yes, they've actually kicked it up because of supply needs.
And our, like they said, our textile industry, a couple of our companies have really switched over and started working on PPEs. And so they were able to retool and do that. So basically, Jim and Ken's report, as they've been reporting to me, has been very positive. So we've been very fortunate here on the industrial side, but keep in mind the retail side has been hit hard. I believe you'll see our unemployment numbers go up for the month.
Yes, and service sector as well, restaurants and hair salons and barber shops, things like that. We do expect our unemployment rate to go up just like everybody's has. So we've been getting reports of number of filings, but again, most of those are in the service and retail sector.
So does anybody have any questions for Jim and Ken on this?
Jim, do you know how much the unemployment rate has went up as of today in Cherokee County?
Not as of today. The last reports we got, we're probably up around 5% right now.
Okay.
And we were down to what, 2.4?
Yes, we were low. We were under 3%.
That's great.
So
Jim, if people want to go to apply at Dollar General, what do they need to go to?
They can go to the Dollar General website.
Dollar Tree.
Or Dollar Tree.
I mean, Dollar Tree, I'm sorry.
Dollar Tree website.
Dollar General's in Union.
Yes.
Okay.
And there's a section on their website that actually says for careers, and they can apply right there. They're looking for 100 more employees.
Ken, what about TTI and also that galvanized company in Blacksburg? Are they still hiring too?
The TTI and Steel Creek are both hiring. TTI or Steel Creek said they'll take anybody they can get right now.
Okay. Thank you, Ken.
Do we have any more questions for them? All right. Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Next, we're going to hear from Administrator Steve Bratton.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. We've just wanted to let you know we had one more case reported today. So we have 14 confirmed cases in Cherokee County right now. I have spoken to Mr. Fowler earlier today, and he did confirm for me that there has been no deaths directly attributable to COVID-19 in our county. So that's certainly good news. We have fared very well. I don't know what to attribute it to. Testing is ongoing in our county, but we've been very fortunate. I hope we remain that way. I noticed that the total number of cases in the county today, in the state, new cases was 62. That's the first time since it started that's been under 3 digits. So I hope that's a good sign that we have hit the plateau here. So we'll see, but that's all I've got to add. We're continuing to operate here the same way we were at our last meeting. It seems to be working. We've made a couple of tweaks, but we're certainly ready to get back to normal. So just wanted to bring y'all up to speed on that.
Thank you, Mr. Bratton. All right. Is there any appointments? All right. Is there any old, new, or other business? Based upon that, we stand adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim.